All I could say is Next Gear Capital is the way business is going today. If you don't change with the times are going to pass you by, and this is what things are going to. I buy 10 cars in Florida, I push a button, I don't have to worry about the funding. Everything goes to Next Gear Capital, they fund it, and I pay them. They take my titles, hold them, I get my titles when I need them.
So we can look at the dashboard and find out how much floor plan we have to use, when our next payments are due, and it gives us an opportunity to manage our business, not necessarily sitting behind a desk.
Next Gear really is unique among floor plan providers, I think, in a number of ways. Number one would be the people. I mean, we work very closely with our account executive, Joe White. He's extremely responsive. We've got his mobile number, and we can and we have called him 24/7, and he always gets back to us. The other thing that's important to us is a seamless process for the floor planning of cars, paying off of cars. Mobile applications are important to us, and I use the mobile application all the time as a dealer. And the interface on the website is intuitive and it's very simple to use. It just is evident throughout all of this infrastructure at Next Gear that they've done this before. And they've done it in large volumes and they know what they're doing.
Next Gear Capital is the next evolution. If you're looking to grow your business, Next Gear Capital is the way to go.
In this session, we're going to talk a little bit about marketing. Wow, once upon a time, advertising, marketing, it seems so easy, right? The classifieds. For some of us who've been around the block for a few years, you're an experienced dealer, but there are brand new things happening every day when it comes to social media, marketing online. What about free marketing? What's a pixel? How can you better understand and implement online marketing ideas? I've got good news. That's what we're here for. Let's join Justin Osborne in Myrtle Beach from the convention with a session to help us understand social marketing. Take it away, Justin.
This model here talks about, as he flips through this model and goes to the next slide, this model talks about the first decision a dealer has to make is if they're going to involve their team in social media or not. You'd be surprised at how many dealers, and you may be one that says, you know what, I don't know if I want my entire team supporting the cause on social media. I'm not sure I want to do that. Because you may be afraid of what they may say, or for legal compliance, or you just want more control. The problem of it, and I use it in that model that you saw, is if you have 600 Facebook friends personally, which is about average. If you have 600 Facebook friends and you want to put out a message that's free, and you have, let's say you have 5 people on your team, and they all have 600 people that are friends with them. Now, I'm not an expert in math, but that's better than your 600. Is that fair enough? Like exponentially. So I think you first have to weigh the impact of free marketing that you can have with your team, and maybe not be so nervous about what they may say or may not say. Number one's a pixel. If you don't have a pixel on your website, you don't need to do anything on Facebook. Is that fair enough? If you don't have a pixel on your website, don't invest any money or do anything on Facebook because you're wasting your time. A pixel is a piece of code that goes on your website, not on Facebook, it goes on your website, but it's from Facebook. It's like a spy. Pixel's like a spy. It's like a ninja spy on your website. And it sits there for Facebook and it looks at everybody coming on your website. And all this stuff they talk about with Facebook being big brother and knowing everything about you, it's because of things like pixels, right? So you're like, I hate it. I want to be more private. But for my business, we'll go ahead and use a pixel, right? It's free. A pixel's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can put if you're an average computer person, if you're not a genius computer person, you could Google or YouTube how to put a pixel on my website and probably figure it out in 45 minutes. It's not hard. It's free. Or you could hire somebody to do it. It should be cheap because it doesn't cost a lot. A lot of vendors will do this for you for free to get some of your other advertising business. Get a pixel on your website. It allows Facebook to see the traffic that's coming to your website, all of it. It lets Facebook see all of the traffic that's coming to your website, not just the traffic that's coming from Facebook. But if Luke got on your website and was at home and he was driving down the, not driving, if he was stationary and he was on his smartphone and he was looking at your website and he was looking at a car and he didn't come from Facebook, he came from a Google search or something else. Now Facebook sees Luke on your website and they know everything about him. They already know everything about him. You're just adding one more piece of information. And what are you adding? Think about this. What are you adding? Luke is on your website looking at a Toyota Tundra. Well, that would have been scary. Look, it was going really good for Justin, and then he's on there looking at a Toyota Tundra. What does Facebook now know about Luke? Where do you think that all these other advertising companies are, how they're figuring out that Luke's looking for I love it, like my friends, we get together on the weekend, my wife and our, like 5 or 6 couple friends, and we're all, we're close, and they're all this one of the girls said, I just know they're listening to us. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's got the red tape on her camera on her phone and all. She's like, I know they're listening to us. I felt like I was watching The Sixth Sense, and I just figured out that something else was going on, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Google, Facebook, they're listening to us. I was like, they're not listening. Me and my husband 2 days ago talked about buying a toaster, and we didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell our parents. We didn't tell any of our friends we're going to buy a toaster. And I swear, the next day on Facebook, I saw an advertisement for a toaster. Maybe. I don't think so. Luke was on your website looking at a Tundra. So all the companies that are paying Facebook for advertising, if they want to know, if they want a Tundra customer, you think Facebook has got one? I mean, it's not really rocket science. Google My Business, you've already talked about. Google listen, if you're not on Google Business, Google doesn't know who you are. Google Business is to tell Google who you are so they can index you and tell everybody else who you are. It's free too. You need to get on Google Business. Targeted audiences, the rest of these are all Facebook specific except the last 2. Targeted audiences. Do you know that you can, listen, advertising's been an expensive piece of our expenses for a long time, right? I mean, dealers spend tons of money advertising, tons. We'll give them a little, we'll give them a lot, we'll give them a lot, we'll give them a lot, and we hope we get a lot of customers, right? Because nobody's tracking anything. Targeted audiences, do you know on Facebook you can take your service department, you can export an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV actually of all your service customers, and then you can import them into Facebook, and that creates what we call a target audience, a very targeted audience. What if you want to market a vehicle to those service customers that you have if you do customer pay? How many in the room do customer pay service? There's a few. Okay, we can go vice versa. You can download and export a list of all your sales customers, and then now you can target them for your service business. 66% of people that go through your service drive says they would consider buying a car if they were satisfied at your service drive. 66% say they would strongly consider buying a car at that dealership if they had never bought one there before. Well, I want to put an ad in front of those people. And all I got to do is download it out of my DMS for the service drive, my customer list, or my CRM, and upload it into Facebook. Now, what does Facebook do? Facebook takes your list, goes like this, because we're not going to show you what we're doing, and it finds their profiles. That's why it's legal. So they're taking your information, they link all your customers to their profiles. They don't tell you, they don't even necessarily tell you who they are, but they link, and then they'll come out with a report and they say, hey, of these 3,000 people, Steve, that you uploaded from your service drive, we found 2,261 Facebook profiles. Facebook got your email when you signed up for Facebook. They got your phone number when you signed up for Messenger. Pretty smart, huh? So that's the target audience. Now, a lookalike campaign. Raise your hand if you know what a lookalike campaign is. So a lookalike campaign is, they say, oh, we see your 3,000 customers. We found their profiles. Remember I told you they know everything about Luke? Well, they know everything about those 2,271 customers too. They know so much about them that they can say, hey, we'll go find some more just like these people. Same demographic. They know that you're getting your oil changed at Valvoline. They know everything you're doing. Well, how do they know I wanted that toaster? Do you know they're able to take the technology now with your smartphone? You may not have thought about this, but if you've got geographic locator on the locator device or the locator option switched on, which my wife, she doesn't know half the functions that are even turned off or on her phone. I'm going through her phone like, why is your Bluetooth on all the time? I don't know. I don't even know how to connect to Bluetooth. But I was like, why don't you turn that off? It drains your battery. Plus, it's a good way to get hacked. I don't know. It's like, okay. The locator device, like when you turn location services on, when you go into the Best Buy, Facebook knows. They know where you are. Now imagine if you had a really smart computer that had your name, your email, the types of friends that you were connecting with, all the posts that you put up. Mark Zuckerberg was in front of Congress testifying. Anybody ever remember that? The CEO of Facebook? I had to watch it. I'm a news junkie. I'm sitting there watching Mark testify. And they ask him, a congressman asked him and says, so are you telling us, because his wife must have said this too, are you telling us that you're not listening to conversations through the microphone and the phone? Do you know he didn't say no? You know what he said? Absolutely, we're listening to people through the microphone on the phone or through the earpiece on the phone. And he said, oh, so you are? He's like, well, yeah, by the nature of talking into the phone on Facebook, when you're when you're on Facebook and you want to do a message but you're driving, so you use the little button that records your voice. Does Facebook have to listen to that? Yeah, I mean, they do, so they can transcribe, put it on text and send it, right? But I found that very interesting. So maybe they are listening to us. Maybe that's how they know you want a toaster. So lookalike campaigns, they know everything about you. So when you give them your list of 2,000 customers and they find them, they can go out and find people just like them, people in the market, other people looking for a Tundra. It's an easy way to advertise. Match campaigns. You need to know what lookalike campaigns are. You need to know what match campaigns are. By the way, I don't know if there are any, I'm not trying to offend any vendors or anything, but on Facebook, there's something called Blueprint. Anybody know Blueprint on Facebook? You can Google it. It tells you everything you can do on Facebook for free. It's a tutorial on how to use Facebook. So you don't necessarily have to hire a company to do that. Facebook tells you, I'm telling you, their tutorials are the coolest in the world. Blueprint, Facebook. Their tutorials are the coolest in the world. Short videos, little quizzes. They're just concise. They just did a really good job with it. So if you want to figure out how to do something, I wouldn't ask anybody how to do a lookalike campaign. I just look at Facebook and they'll tell you exactly, they'll walk you through how to do it. Facebook even has now customer service reps that you can call that will help you walk you through these processes. Match campaign, we talked about. Dynamic ads, I'm going to kind of move through that. That's even more complicated, narrowing down. Let me tell you something about ROI. If we've ever done a disservice to ourselves in the automotive business, besides not training employees, we haven't tracked our advertising dollars very well. Great dealers track their advertising dollars, and it's hard to do because we're busy. But if you're going to invest in Cars.com, and you're going to invest in Auto Trader, and you're going to spend $4,000 with Car Guru and TrueCar, don't you think you deserve to know what kind of return you're getting? Absolutely you do. You owe it to your business and to your staff to know that. No. Well, they've had a hard time telling you that over the years because maybe they don't know exactly what. But with Facebook, you can take your sales list, Steve. You can print out your sales list for the month. You can import, check this out, you can import your sales, all the customers you sold. You can import it back into Facebook when the month is over, and you can see exactly who bought a car because they watched one of your ads on Facebook, or they hit your pixel, or they watched your video, or they saw your Facebook ad. So Facebook is one of the first digital companies that we've seen, and this isn't a Facebook pitch, by the way. They're doing fine without me. I know. I'm here with NIDA and Facebook. Since I'm talking so good about them and they can hear what I'm saying, do you think maybe give me some free advertising? So ROI, it's the best ROI we've ever seen digitally. And, oh my gosh, and it's the cheapest. It's the cheapest advertising that you will ever spend your dollars doing right now in our current marketing, all the options that you have. Just to give you a quick stat, because I do 20 groups, one of the benefits of doing 20 groups all the time is I get to sit in a room full of dealers like yourselves and listen to them talk. I'm like the fly on the wall. But you kind of learn some things from listening to all those smart people talk about dealerships all the time. 80% of the dealers, almost a majority of 80% of the dealers that I deal with in all the 20 groups, because I ask this every time we meet, raise your hand if you're spending what you're spending as a percent of your marketing budget on digital. I would say, but a few. I would say just a few of all the dealers are not spending 80% or more. Most are moving towards 100% of their marketing budget to Facebook. Now, does that mean if you got a great deal on TV that you should know? I'm not saying change anything. I'm just telling you, most people are spending all their money on digital. Last is the ad exchange. A lot of people don't know much about the ad exchange. I don't even know a lot about the ad exchange, but you might write that one down because it's really making a big push right now. And you can move forward to another slide. But the ad exchange is a place to market on digital that kind of finds you, and it's kind of crazy. So we talked about meet and greet, but it's kind of been moved around because now it's like more like an in-person introduction because you've already met them on the phone when they come on the lot. Hopefully we're setting lots of appointments. Listen, if your dealership doesn't have a lot more appointments set up now than it did 4, 5, 6 years ago, that's a problem because everybody's calling right now. A lot of people are calling. The shift for the customer. By the way, dealerships didn't get in a room like, dealers did not get in a room like this room, all come together and have a meeting like you guys didn't form a meeting and say, hey, let's change the road to the sale. Let's change everything because of technology and change our entire process. It's changing because the customer is demanding the change, and they're getting it because of the use of technology. They're changing this process. We're not, right? If it were up to us, we'd probably leave it alone. Worked pretty good for a couple of generations, right? So the customer's changing. Meet and greet. I'm going to give you just a couple of quick points on meet and greet. If you do have a drive-up customer, now listen, here's where we diverge from buy here, pay here. Raise your hand if you're buy here, pay here. Raise your hand high so I really know who's buy here, pay here. Raise your hand if you're retail. Okay, so that's a pretty good mix. So listen, meet and greet on a retail lot, again, you can do it differently. I'm just going to give you 3 main points. The first one, if you're meeting a customer for the first time in your life, could you hit that one more time for me, John, or maybe 3 more times? Man, that's a slow. There we go. That's perfect. Yeah, hope it stays. Okay, so ask the right questions. So when you go out to meet somebody on the first time, you can train a new person real quick of a couple things to say. And when you're training new salespeople, it only makes sense that if you're going to spend some time and actually train them, to start at the beginning of the process and then give them some leash and let them work and practice what they've been with customers, what they're getting competent at, and give them more rope as they move through the process, because it's a long, complicated process if you really think about it. And it takes some finesse. It's some art and some science. So ask the right questions in the meet and greet. My favorite question that I've heard, and I didn't make it up, is, hey, have you guys been here before, or is this your first time? I love that question. That's a great opening question. You've been here before, or is this your first time? Now, there's a couple of things that they could say in response to that that's going to give me a lot of information about the customer. If they've been here before, great. Was that for sales or for service? But do it slower and with a happy face. Was that for sales or for service? If it was for sales, maybe they're in the middle of a deal. Maybe I need to turn it over to one of my cohorts in there. If it was been a long time, maybe it's time to pick that deal back up and start working it. If they were in service, okay, oh, you're here before for service. So it gives me a lot of background of the customers real quick, and it's a great intro line. Plus, it's not like, can I help you? No, we're just looking, please stay away. That's if they stop, right? Because I've worked on lots where they wouldn't even slow down. Like, woo, let me get out of the way. What did you say? Oh, do you have those customers? Because I know how to. I can tell you how to stop them every time. You want to know? Spike strips that the police use, they'll stop every time. Then you can talk to them. You're like, we meant to move those. I'm sorry. They're not supposed to be there. That detailer. Form. So how do we build relationships with people? Form. You're going to write this down. This is an acronym that I learned when I was 18. I'll never forget it. It's always helped me build relationships and rapport with people, because I'm not naturally good at it. It's not my gift. Is it like, I'm not like a super great people person. Just act like it. No, it's joking. I know it's late in the day. Form. Yeah, sorry. Sorry we didn't love your joke. Form. Family, occupation, recreation message. You've heard that before, haven't you? Family, occupation, recreation message. Listen, if you can remember form and you can teach that to a salesperson, there's nowhere, they'll never have dead silence with a person. Hey, what's your name? This is called mandatory fun. Participation. You said, Kevin, do you have a family? No, just joking. Kevin, are you married? Oh, cool. Look, I'm not trying to be salesy here. I'm just trying to show brand new salespeople how they can quickly learn how to walk through this and get to know somebody. It's so easy for them. You're married? Okay. Do you have kids? Yep. Oh, cool. Do you guys live around here? No. You don't? Where do you live at? North. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of close. But are you going to buy a car here? Because you're waiting. No. So I'm doing this like a car deal that we're doing here. So, family, occupation. Where do you work at? How long have you been there? I've heard great things about it. How do you like it? Could go on and on and on about where he works. Family, occupation, recreation. Now, see, recreation's subjective because, like, I'm from the Midwest, right, where everybody hunts, except me. I'm not a big hunter. I went deer hunting one time. I won't tell you that story. So, recreation can be calendar, like community events, what's going on locally, or big time. You know, listen, it's football season, right? So I know there's some people in the room that enjoy that as much as I do. I mean, it's a big deal to me, football season. Like, it's like a lifestyle around August, September, October. I can't wait. So if I'm talking to somebody, I can, did you watch the Chiefs play? Did you watch the Chiefs play? And, we can relate to that. Local high school, they have kids that go to school. So recreation can be a lot of different things. Hunting. Everybody in Missouri knows when it's deer season, rifle season, bow season, hunting season. Every season, they know. I don't know. They all know. So I bring that up because it wouldn't be odd if I met you on the lot. It wouldn't be odd for me to say, hey, you got your your tags for deer season? Have you got a buck yet? It wouldn't be odd to have that conversation. Wherever you live here in the Carolinas, in your community, if there's a big event going on at the square, if it's Halloween, if it's Christmas, these are all easy things to do for R. And then message or money, message, family, occupation, recreation, message. That is a 16-minute conversation right there for anybody that doesn't know how to talk to somebody. Now, I just told you all that because you bumped your head and hired the person that doesn't know how to talk to somebody.
Okay, Frank, I was expecting this, so I did prepare some notes. Wow. If someone would have told me close to 30 years ago that I would be standing up here tonight as a CIADA president, I would have told them to go jump in a lake. But we never know what God has in store for us. So here I am. Please bear with me a little bit because this is an honor. And I won't take up much of your time. But to our national director, CEO, Steve Jordan, CEO Emeritus Mike Lynn, Ken Shilson, I think, who's not here, and other National Association executives that are present, thank you for being here. To all of our past CIADA presidents and board members, our executive director, John Brown, and his staff, and particularly John Brown, because John Brown understands what it is that our mission needs to be. And if it wasn't for him and his leadership for diversity and inclusion, I wouldn't be standing up here. To our current executive board and to all our sponsors and vendors who continue to support this association, and most importantly, to all of our independent dealers throughout North and South Carolina. I'm pleased and I'm humbled and I'm honored to have been chosen as your 2018-19 president. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. I've been reminded on several occasions over the last year or so, and I think we all know by now that I am the Carolinas Association's first black president in the 63-year history. So, with that acknowledgement, I want everyone to just relax and take a deep breath. Chill out, because I'm not getting ready to make a "I had a dream" speech. I'm not getting ready to do that. But I'm certainly not about to stand up here and proclaim that I alone can make the CIADA great again. Instead, I prefer to proclaim and focus on working together to make the CIADA better. So my speech is about challenging you. We're good, but we can be better. It's a very good organization. I know from firsthand experience. But we're a long ways from being great, which means there's plenty of work to be done to get better. In fact, the word great in my mind sort of implies a finite perfection, the perception of superiority, and a sense that there is no room for improvement. However, with less than 25% of our licensed dealers in the Carolinas being members of the association, with new car dealers digging deeper into our market, coupled with competing with curbstoners, with the changing behavior of the consumer, with the continuous regulatory and compliance changes, the changing demographics of our dealer base, which includes more minority and first-generation entrepreneurs getting into the business, along with baby boomers who are either selling their dealerships or turning them over to their children. Therein lies the opportunity for CIADA to get better. Somehow we have to identify dealers operating who have a very strong entrepreneurial spirit but remain uncommitted to joining the association and making it their primary source for networking and developing their dealership management and leadership skills. As an association, we have to change the attitudes and perceptions that exist that causes hesitation to join and participate. So look, I'm a realist. We can't make the horses, our dealers, drink the water in the pond. But we got to make sure that we clear the weeds and barriers to the path or from the path to the pond. Even in organizations like the NIADA and CIADA, with our current leadership, we're striving to be diverse and inclusive. We're making strides. But there still can be an institutionalized legacy that is hard to overcome. That's because human nature tells us to stay in our own family, social and business circles, to stay close to home, and to not let anyone else in our house. And at some point, we do not even realize that the welcome mat has walked off the porch. We have to be willing to reach out further, to get out of our safe zone and embrace and invite that dealer who has a different perception and who probably needs the assistance of the association the most. To the dealers who has this different perception, if your mind is not open to joining the association, after the invitation is extended and the door has been opened, if you're not willing to make the small investment of money and time to make your dealerships better, then the blood is not on the hands of the CIADA or the NIADA. Because I know firsthand how I've benefited and grown my dealership operation through the resources provided by this association. You can't be intimidated. This is your association too. Now, these are the people that I'm talking to that are not here, but it's our job to get them here. So you can accept it for what it's worth, but it's never mandatory. Within our ranks, and I'm about through, sorry, John. Within our ranks, we have some bad dealers. We have some good dealers. And maybe some of you even think you're great dealers, and that's okay. But somewhere along the road of running our dealerships, we all have had and continue to have some challenges with buying, selling, servicing, and financing cars. Our association is the catalyst for helping us get better. We, as an executive board, with John Brown and the CIADA staff, will continue to collaborate and work together to come up with better solutions than ever before to promote the interests and viability of our dealer members. It means we should have a goal to increase our membership by at least 20%, realizing that there is strength in numbers. Our education and training must focus on operational, marketing, compliance, financial, and personnel management, to the point that dealers can pre-package their training to use in their dealerships. Our vendors must have a partnership mentality. As president, I want to see the CIADA grow and glow this year. I promise to do my part. There are no big I's nor little U's in my book. Only us working together to make it better. I want to acknowledge a few people here with me tonight. My managers that are here, have been with me for a long time. Thank you for all of your support. I want you to stand. And I have some special guests here. My first cousin and his wife, Dr. Ken Sadler and Dr. Brenda Sadler. Marvin, my first cousin, is just like my brother. Thank him for being here. And he's been my sounding board for years. Thank you for coming. And of course, I have two special ladies that are here that have tolerated me for years. Destiny and Cordelia, please stand. And finally, I'll get out of your way, but I want to say to you that there is a prominent black businessman that lived to be 103 years old from Alabama. His name was Arthur G. Gaston. He died in 1996. He built a multi-million-dollar business during segregation, the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. Multi-million, the insurance and banking business, and then he went into real estate and the funeral home business. His slogan was, find a need and fill it. That's what we have to be about as dealers and as an association. As CIDA, we know what the needs are. Let's fill them. thank you, and I hope you make the rest of this year the best of your year. Thank you.
I'm Luke Godwin, owner of Godwin Motors in Columbia, South Carolina. We are 90% buy here, pay here. We do a little bit of prime. We don't do any subprime outside financing. That's just not our deal. We have fixed ops, a pretty big service facility, about 14 bays. We are in the rental car business a little bit. Used to be a lot more, but insurance laws in South Carolina don't make that a friendly business to be in. What we are in is the customer service business, and everybody sitting in this room is in the same business. So the only way to be better at what we do is to serve the customer better. We do that, they're going to buy more from us. They will train us to be better, because if we don't get better, we will be out of business. But I'm going to run through this, and what I really want you to take from it is, no matter what your customer's demographic is, no matter what your customer's credit score is, they're still a great customer. They feed us. They feed our families. They make sure that we do the things we need to do. So they all need to be treated as 750 credit scores. Always remember that, no matter what their credit score is. So John said this was going to be a pirate-themed deal, so I need to come up with a pirate theme for the presentation. And I believe I'm the only person that did that. So a joke on me, huh? So I want you all together one time say, "Are you liked?" I like it. I like it. Here we go. So this is geared to buy here, pay here stores, but everybody can do it. You're all in the same business. Buy here, pay here dealership, the biggest thing is customer service, where customer service has to be your business. I'm going to ask you a crazy question that you may not have asked yourself, but you need to. Are we interested in making money or enhancing our customers' lives? Both. You're right. If we enhance our customers' lives, we're going to make money. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. So just remember that every time you think, what if I was in this situation? What if my mother was in this situation? My mother is a buy here, pay here buyer, so I know what situation she's in, okay? So anyway, just make sure that you think about that every time. How is your dealership perceived in your community? That matters a ton. If you're perceived as the piranha, nobody's going to want to come see you. You know, would you want to go see that dealership or that whatever you buy every day? Would you want to go to the store where you think that every time you walk in there, you're going to get jacked? Nobody wants to do that, right? So what matters today didn't exist 25 years ago. 25 years ago, the word of mouth mattered more than anything. Everybody would tell their brother, "Hey, go buy a car there." They'd tell their sister, "Go buy a car there." Well, that still happens today. But the population is a little more transient now than it was then. So if a customer doesn't know someone who's done business with you, how are they going to find out about you? Well, Yelp and Google really started reviews back in 2004. That's a long time ago. What's that, 16 years ago, 12 years ago? Whatever it is, 14 years ago. Every time I get over here, I start to squeak a little bit. Well, all of a sudden in 2004, anybody could ask nobody how you were doing business. They could just start searching. And next thing you know, you open up your email one day, and this service you've never heard of before says, "Hey, you got a bad review." Oh no, what am I to do? Well, in 2012, SEO probably a little around that area. Let's not go on 2012, but search engine optimization started really mattering. And if you don't have reviews, number one, if you don't have reviews, number two, if you have bad reviews, that's going to affect that. It's going to affect how you show up on Google. So you need to make sure that you're going in the right direction here. And today, and for the last several years, 5-star reviews matter. And how you talk to the customer on a 1-star review matters. All this stuff matters. So the question I asked earlier, should a great customer experience depend on your customer's credit? And y'all all answered, no, it should not. And why hasn't this been asked by people in our industry? Why haven't we said, oh, that guy just walked in with a 400 credit score. He can't buy anything. Oh, they ain't got but $500. They can't buy. Well, they may not be able to buy today, but they can buy tomorrow. So just always remember the people you are dealing with feed your family. And everybody deserves a chance one way or another. And they may not deserve a chance now, but let's teach them or show them a way where they can deserve a chance later. Some customers in our business have never been wild. They've bought groceries at the grocery store. They've rented a car somewhere maybe. They've bought clothing at maybe not Bloomingdale's. They've done things that's never just said, wow, that was great service. So what if we could do that every day? What if we could say that customer is going to remember every time they walked into my office? We're going to go greet them. We're going to say hello. We're going to have a smile on our face because that wows people. Again, treat every customer like they have a 700 Beacon score. Make sure that customer sees that you go the extra mile every day, no matter what. Train your employees to do this. It should start at the top. Every single business owner in here should greet every customer every time they walk out of their office. My office is kind of shaped like a horseshoe, and I sit in the back left of it. Every time I get out of my desk and walk to the front and there's customers out there, I introduce myself. I shake their hand, find out how they're doing. If your employees see you doing that, they're going to do the same thing. Make sure you have someone at the front of your business that is greeting them with a big smile. That is something my beautiful wife taught me. And she's hired that person to do it. Every time someone walks in the door, they are getting a smile. And you need to do that. You need to make sure they're getting that. And this goes back to that. The most important engagement in your dealership is between the employee and the customer. So we got to ask the question, how can we improve this in our dealership? What's anybody's idea? If you walked into your dealership today, first of all, would you be greeted with a smile? And second of all, if not, what can we do to fix that problem? Anybody got any ideas? That's right. Training. Make sure you got somebody smiling. If everybody walked in today and saw you, they would love it, right? She's got a beautiful face, y'all. She's smiling. Look at that. And next, how can we measure that improvement? How can we say, we drew a line in the sand, and yesterday we didn't have a smiling face, and today we have a smiling face. How can we measure that improvement? I think you can measure it by reviews, number one. And number two, you can also measure it by the way the people respond to you sitting in the office or when you walk out there to talk to somebody. So figure out a way to do that in your dealership to measure that. The most interaction in your office in a buy here, pay here store is not your sales staff. Your sales staff, they greet them today and they sell the car. Your collection staff is really where the change can matter. How many collectors do most of y'all have? Raise your hand if you've got 2 collectors. 5? 10? Okay. So we have anywhere from people with 1 collection to probably 10 collectors in this room. They are your front lines. Some of your collectors have been buy here, pay here customers. They know what it's like to get that phone call. Nobody likes to get a phone call saying, hey, you got a payment due, right? How can we improve that situation? Is your collection staff trained properly? Are they trained in the correct way to do collection calls? Are they trained in the legal way to do collection calls? Do they harass your customers? You'll know this if you talk to your customers. If you're not talking to your customers, you need to. Are your collections staff glad to talk to those customers? Ask that question to them. Have they set expectations from your customers. If your customer, I heard in the last presentation, if your customer tells them they're going to pay on Friday, has your collection staff instilled upon them, you got to pay this Friday? I'm going to battle for you. Have they done that? A simple thing, does your collection staff show empathy? How many people in here have bounced a check? You know, how many people in here have forgot about something? Forgot to pay a credit card payment. I forgot to pay a credit card payment back in May. And I went to buy something and I couldn't buy it. Whoops. Well, luckily I could call them and say, hey, I don't know how I forgot this, but I did. Can I pay it now? Sure, you can pay it now. They waived my late fee. They turned my card back on right then. They understood what I was going through. I was embarrassed. How many people won't pick up the phone because they're embarrassed? A bunch of them. Does your collection staff take time to find out why their customer didn't pay? Do they believe what your customer tells them? Or do they just shut them down? Some people actually, y'all, some people actually have deaths in their family. Some people actually go to the hospital and aren't able to work. Find out these things. You can ask them to produce documentation showing this, because that matters. If you tell a customer, your husband's in the hospital, I don't care, you told me you're going to pay, I'm going to repossess your car, what do you think that's going to do to that customer? It's not going to be good, is it? You know, an easy thing. Did your collection staff say, how is your day going today? When that customer did pick up the phone. You know, hey, such and such customer, I am so glad I was able to talk to you today. That makes a big difference. The solution, again, is to train your staff. Empower your staff to make customers happy at the lowest authority. Don't make them have to run it up the flagpole. If they are able to say, yes, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer, I understand you can't pay this Friday. Can you assure me you're going to pay next Friday? Yes, I am. Okay, let them go with it. Okay, within reason. But that matters. They shouldn't have to run it up the flagpole, come back to the customer, call the customer back 3 days later and make this decision. That customer the whole entire time is worried about whether their car is going to get repossessed or not. What does the competition look like around you? Now, these are people from all over, because I didn't want anybody in this room to be embarrassed. But I do have one question before we go forward. Show of hands of everybody that knows their Google rating in the room right now. A show of hands of people that don't know their Google rating right now. Well, at least you're honest. I can tell you I got 303 because I got a 5-star this morning from Google. So I'm still at 4.8. Okay? I can tell you how many 1-star reviews I have on Google right now. How about Facebook? How many people know their Facebook rating? How many people don't know their Facebook rating? Why? She didn't know there was one. Do you have a Facebook page? Okay. Okay. Do you know how many reviews you may have on that page? No? Don't do that. You should be looking at these things every day. You should be looking at Google. You should have Google My Business on your cell phone with push notifications on. You know why? As soon as you get a Google review, you will know it immediately. The worst thing to do is let something fester. Let that 1-star fester. Make sure it's handled quickly. This is for people. This is Godwin Motors. This is us. These people are scattered throughout the country. But if you look, I would argue 4.5 stars up is a good Google rating, right? Would everybody agree? Yes. Okay. Who in here has below a 4.5 star Google rating? She's honest. There's got to be more. Below a 4.5. It happens. Don't get frustrated. You know, if it gets below 3, you probably should be concerned. You probably should be really concerned. Because if you're below 3, people probably don't want to come visit you. They're really going to read reviews. They're going to scour them. People show up at our dealership I'm here to buy a car today because of your Google reviews. I want to see Isaac because of his Google reviews. I want to see Sarita because of her reviews. That's the reason people show. This is the reason it matters to your sales staff to have Google reviews, because people show up to buy from them because they read the Google reviews. At 2.9 stars, my opinion is you're pretty average and you don't go the extra mile for your customer. You might be selling the wrong car to your customer too, so think about this. At 2.4 stars and 31 Google reviews, that kind of tells me they've got a lot of reviews and they've only got a 2.4 star. I don't want to show. I'm not even going there. But down the end down there, 1.3 stars with 15 Google reviews. Why are they in business? They're not doing it the right way. There's no doubt they're not doing it the right way. So deal with this every day. I will make a side note that Yelp is a horrible, horrible, horrible place. And they're extortionists. And even if you pay them, what's so bad about Yelp? They don't even know how to be good extortionists. Even when you pay them, they don't put your reviews up like they should. You know how I know this? Because I tried to pay them. And it didn't work. I was like, you're extorting money and I'm giving you the money. Make it work. Anyway, so Yelp, worry about it. Try hard. I have 2 reviews that are recommended on Yelp, okay? A 1 star where we messed up. We did not handle the customer properly. We have a 5 star where we handle it perfectly. We have 38 unrecommended 5 stars review on Yelp. 38 unrecommended.
They didn't put them on there.
They won't put them on there. Even after I paid them.
Buried them at the bottom.
Yeah, I hate them. Anyway. They're horrible. So review milestone for my dealership. In 2010, we sold a customer a Ford Explorer. And this is before I even knew online reviews existed. She was driving from Myrtle Beach back to Knoxville, Tennessee. She broke down in Columbia, South Carolina. And she had $3,500 and needed a Ford Explorer or needed something to get home. She bought a Ford Explorer from us. She drove it back to Knoxville. She left our first Google review on Yahoo. Anybody even know what Yahoo is? Some of us, yeah. Around March 2012, we got our first bad online review. It is a current customer that left that first bad review on Yelp. A current customer. Yelp. That was the first bad one on Yelp. We repossessed that customer's car because she did not have insurance on her car. We embarrassed her in front of everybody in a Home Depot parking lot. Did we handle that the right way, you think? Did we deserve that review? Probably. We reached out to that customer. We have sold her 3 cars since. She financed a $50,000 Escalade with us last year and put down $22,000. We went from a bad review to a great customer. So just remember, you can always fix that. Bad reviews aren't a bad thing, and we'll get to that. In 2016, now there's a big gap between 2012 and 2016, but I decided that reviews were so important to me that it was dependent upon our frontline people, our sales staff, to incorporate part of their commission into getting Google reviews. So it's changed a bunch of different ways now, but back then we were paying $25 for every 5-star review that our sales staff got each month. So it worked. It moved the needle. Create a way for your sales staff to follow up and get that review. July of 17, so about a year ago, I put a new staff member, Sarita, in charge of getting reviews. And we went from about 100 reviews probably around January of 17 to 300 Google 5-star reviews as of today. So we put somebody in charge, we empowered them, we paid them to do it, inside staff. We didn't pay an outside company to do it. We paid a staff, and we pay every salesperson. Everybody in our dealership can get paid for reviews. And so it's worked.
Auto Data Direct offers independent dealers and lien holders web-based access to a wide range of products and services. ADD meets all of your needs for mandatory electronic lien titles in North Carolina and other ELT participating states. With LienLock 123, you can securely monitor your active liens at no additional charge. With no monthly or annual fees and no term contracts, getting started is easier than ever. Just visit add123.com/CIADA and click the Download the Forms and Instructions link. Want to know more? Give us a call at 866-923-3123.
Wayne Reeves Software got started at an actual dealership. Wayne's Auto Sales was the car lot that Wayne Reeves owned through the 1970s, 80s, and into the 2000s. It was during that time that we developed the software sitting in the back of the dealership programming. Over the past 30 years, I've worked with so many dealerships who have lost their inventory, lost their customers through a computer crash or theft, and they've called me up and said, what am I supposed to do? So we decided to store all of this in the cloud so that you never have that issue again. We currently have 17 customer support representatives to help you 6 days a week. We realize that when you have a customer sitting across from you and you're trying to sell that car, it's critical that if you have an issue, you be able to call into our office and we can help you right away, get the deal done, and get the customer out the door. We've assembled a team of people in this office, and they all know the car business.